Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Jimi Bethel joining us today. Yes, the president and founder of Project Safe Hands. Excited to have him here live on the show and live on the Zoom from Mesa, Arizona. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Fine, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you back and also here on the Zoom. I want to discuss, obviously, more about the nonprofit 501c3 that you have, which consists mostly of retired law enforcement like yourself. Tell us about the work you're doing.
Well, we are Project Safe Hands, a group of retired law enforcement. We basically set protocol for proper protocols for traffic stops due to all of the violence and things that we're having with these traffic stops and traffic stop related shootings and abuse on traffic stops. We give brief classes before we give out our project, which is Safe Hands. I'm having it Safe Hands. And, we give out this little speech to everybody because we actually reward them with what I call a partner card. A partner card, and we'll get deeper into that. But if you hear anything you want to really delve into later on after this is over, you can get me on www.projectsafehands.com.
Perfect.
Or you can also reach me on 1-888-885-6712. Like I said, we are basically just bridging the gap that's been created because of bad police work. Police officers, for the most part, do a fantastic job. And I know that. But there are what they used to call a bad apple has turned into a bad orchard all of a sudden. Got so much violence nationwide. We got to stop that.
Well, thank you for being here. I think it's important that we start with a little bit of your background so people get to know you and your story in law enforcement before we continue to talk more about what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, I did have some dark points in my career that actually I use as a resume. People say, "Well, how do you know? How do you know so much? What makes you so qualified on police behavior?" And like, well, before there was a Rodney King or these other guys that gave their life, there was Jimi Bethel. That's me, and the only reason I'm probably here talking about it is because I was in full uniform. So, I had the chokehold applied to me. It's just a thing where it's really an argument combat between myself and my racist supervisor. It's been many years ago. But through that and the fact that I never gave up, I actually had a love for the job. I really hung in there and fought my suspension for a lot of frivolous charges and things of that nature. I spent over 3 years on suspension without pay. I had to actually go to court to win my job back. Won my case in the United States Court of Appeals. The landmark case that changed civil servant appeals rights for civil servants of the United States. So there are advantages to continuing to fight the battle. I came back on the department after 3 years of suspension. Retired honors. And the rest is kind of history. I worked 5 years with Homeland Security as a security consultant there in another outfit for 8 years called City Security Consultants in Washington, D.C. So I'm well versed on police behavior, and I know the system. I know how the system operates. And it worries me when I see motorists that want to put police officers on trial on the side of the road because they don't believe that they did anything wrong because you're it's an argument that you can't win. That's what this pardon card is for. The pardon card actually has no cash value, and the pardon card forgives one traffic violation, not to
Mm-hmm.
include either I or reckless driving, uh, and up to the officer's discretion. Otherwise, you have to admit that you did whatever the officer said that you did in order to be eligible for this pardon. It's not. It's a thing where we don't want. We want as little said on these traffic stops as possible because it always seems to lead to friction. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to go over what's safe. What should we be doing at a traffic stop?
Yeah. Well, of course, there's the basic turn your lights on at night. You stop at night. But the one thing that you always hear police officers saying when you hear this,
Mm,
you might be in trouble. When you hear him or her shout, "Show me your hand,"
yeah.
you may be in trouble, especially on nighttime traffic stops. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
safe hands are. Basically, half mitts that the driver will place on his hands when he stopped
Yeah.
on traffic stops at night. Most people are going to want to use them day and night because of the current situation and the climate of the United States. But most of these uh, accidental shootings, be it accident or whatever, occur at night in the darkness, 2:30, 3 in the morning, dark roads. You know the situation. They always tell you to pull over in a place that's a well lit gas station, whatever. Not all officers want to adhere to that advice. Uh, when told why they didn't pull directly, a lot of officers want to know why you didn't pull in something like it's frightening, really, as a retired cop, not carry a badge. If I'm riding down the highways at night in Mississippi or Georgia, wherever, I'm not trying to downgrade your state if you're from Mississippi or Georgia, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can be kind of frightening. Okay, first time in my life, officers like myself and others tell their kids, be careful, there are cops
Mm-hmm.
out there. We want to say, be careful, there are bad cops out there, but we don't want bad cops because most of them are good people. Fantastic job.
Yeah.
That contact number again is
You're good.
www.projectsafehands.com. And we're going to educate people and prep them up. They'll know exactly what to say and what to do on traffic stops. And we're not stopping there. We'll be issuing out in-service training to police departments nationwide. Um, I was just speaking with a couple of chiefs from Phoenix Police Department,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm basically located. This weekend, I'll be traveling to Virginia and speaking with some law enforcement people there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll make sure that the whole nation is privy to know exactly what this is all about before it really goes nationwide. I mentioned Phoenix because I live in Phoenix now,
Mm-hmm.
on Mesa, and the D.C. Maryland, Virginia area where I grew up. So I'll be there on business as well as seeing relatives and celebrating birthday of granddaughter.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that. And happy birthday again to me today.
Happy birthday. Yay.
Yes, happy birthday. Just in the prime of my life.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, exciting to be here on your show today on your birthday to talk about the work that you're doing. And did you want to give us more details about Project Safe Hands? People out there might still say, well, what is it exactly? How could I help? What can I do to get involved to help others with this?
Well, right now, what we're doing is formulating. Actually, the product is ready uh, to be sold. I don't want to just get out there and just start selling people safe hands. It's not about making a dollar for myself.
Mm-hmm.
More than the dollar amount, I want to make sure that people are
Yeah.
educated before they even use safe hands.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with the parking card because safe hands are so commonsensical.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be looked at like people look at seatbelts. I don't want to wear a seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
This is a serious, serious situation. Uh, Guns have infiltrated the streets are just, guns are everywhere. And police officers, I know the sad part is that police officers, they're outgunned now, through no fault of their own. We have politicians that flock to the NRA and kiss their ring, whatever they call it, and we've got young kids being slaughtered. Seems like every week between talks, there's somebody else getting shot. House parties, pull up in the driveway, knocking on a door because the streets are just filled with guns. And it's totally unnecessary. And politicians are doing absolutely nothing about it. And it makes no sense. It
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense at all. Where's common sense? So we have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
That's for sure. And unfortunately, we're going to have to start with community policing. A lot of what I did when I was a beat cop, coming to their funerals, I bowled in the leagues with them, I went on picnics with them, I went to church with them, with the folks, and got to know the community. And if you just riding by in a car and just throwing out tickets, you never get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I said, we've got a lot of work to do. But we were warned many, many years ago
Mm-hmm.
that we would have uh, period where we would be infiltrated with racist, white supremacist cops, whatever you want to call them. But where did it all start? Where did this hatred really start? Well, I'm concerned, it's just my opinion. I think it started with one guy. We know who that is. It didn't start with him, but he kind of, re, re, reignited the old Jim Crow era. But, rough them up, don't treat them so nice. Uh, they're coming here, they're taking our jobs. And what is this MAGA make America great again? Whenever you ask folks, when was America great for minorities? When was America great for blacks? They really can't answer. But what they're really saying is make America take it back the way it was when, when there was, slavery. And prime example is the CRT, critical race theory. They can't even, you want to create a problem that doesn't even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's teaching anybody's kids critical race. I
Yeah.
think what they're saying is that we don't want our kids to know about the past. You know, the best thing about that, the best way to cure you can't cure what's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for it not to happen again, you got to talk about it. And if you really want to make America
Yeah.
great again. We can go. Let's go all the way back. That's not. We just didn't just. We weren't born on slave ships. You can go all the way back to the Moors. Okay, so where everything comes from. We are brilliant people, and we may never get our justice here. There's a living God. You don't believe in God. You just stand close to the Bible. Every now and then, crack it open. Come true to the last. You got your home insurance, your car insurance. You might as well have your soul insurance, just in case this thing is real. This thing called God. Oh man, nothing can be greater than man. No, it's a God. Trust me. I could talk all day on that belief. But once again, www.projectsafehand.com. And what we're going to do is change the way this whole police behavior is situated right now, because police officers, they don't even know that their greatest supporters are not the ones that's walking the halls of Congress. January 6th should have showed them that when they didn't even want to shake the hand of the decent officers that saved some of their lives. They didn't even want to shake their hand. Yeah, so, but we're going to change all of that. So you look like you want to take a break. Well, if you don't, I'll just keep talking. Usually you'll say, well, it's time for a break.
No,
But
we're
then
not taking a break today because we're on a Zoom. So no need to, but you are on a roll.
oh,
It doesn't
okay.
matter.
All right.
Well, yeah, no commercial break for the Zoom, but it's always good to remind everyone, Jimmy, Project Safe Hands. Tell us the website,
Yes.
projectsafehands.com. What happens in my camera? That happens sometimes.
I don't know. I think,
Projectsafehands.com.
yeah.
Someone
So
entered the room and it shut me off. Again, excited to
it,
have you here. And you mentioned, show me, we talked about this, your hands. You also, we still have 10 minutes left on our show. Oh my gosh, no, we don't have less than that. We have 6 minutes left in the show. What else do you think it's important to get across to everyone today about the work you're doing?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we just only have 6 minutes left. So what else did you want to share personally about your life experience, about
Oh,
Project Safe Hands, how we can get involved? It's whatever else you wanted to share, because I know it's the first Zoom.
yeah. Yeah. It's the person. It's amazing how I spent most of my life, seem like on stage, really, a singer, performer. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am, like I said, nervous, but I probably could be a little bit more prepared in some ways, but usually I'm just
Mm-hmm.
I like just doing it off the top of my head, excuse me.
Okay.
But we are really concentrating right now on this new name, image, likeness, NIL. A lot of young athletes are getting these big contracts,
Mm-hmm.
fresh fresh out of college. Some not even in college,
Yeah.
in high schools. They're getting paid for their name on jerseys and things like that because um, some of them are very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens? They get these big credit cards and jewelry, and they go back to the ghetto, to the neighborhood to sport this stuff there, and the police sees this young man pull up a Rolls Royce, full that brand new Corvette, and they automatically pull them over because they automatically feel that they're drug dealers.
Mm.
And the whole line of questioning changes. Now it's going to be, do you have any drugs and stuff? Uh, I smell drugs. I thought I smelled drugs. Have you ever done drugs? And they'll say a lot of things that will, some cops anyway, that will
Mm-hmm.
lure you into. Let me give you just an example real quick. They say, well, you sure you've never smoked, tried drugs? And
Mm-hmm.
he or she might say, well, back in high school I did. Oh, I thought I smelled something.
Yep.
Mind if I search your car? And
Mm-hmm.
more people say, well, go ahead. I don't have anything. I
Yep.
don't have anything there. You don't know what goes on from that. Everything's changed from that. They might call the drug sniffing dog in. It
Wow.
could be a used car.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody whoever owned it before you left the old what they call a roach in there, marijuana, any trace of it can be sniffed up by a dog, and next thing you know, I mean, there's just so many things that can go wrong when all you have to do with this program is show Joker your card. Right,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking the program, you're supportive police officers, and that will be it. They'll know
Yep.
to leave you alone, and that's unfortunately, it was not unfortunate either, but things like that's going to have to be done to mend the divide that's been created because of
Mm-hmm.
bad police work.
Mm.
So we can do it.
Got it. Well, we appreciate your time here. And if someone wants to get involved, I mean, I know you're a nonprofit. What are some of the things you're looking for? And how could they reach you?
Yes. Once again, www.projectsafehands.com, or you can call 1-888-885-6712. We try to hit large groups of teenagers or motorists in groups of
Yep.
50. We like to do groups of 50. Okay. We do groups of 50, and we hand out these actually through donations, and through foundations.
Yep.
We're able to, in most situations, give these out for free.
Wow.
For free if the donations are there. So if you know of a young man or a young woman, they're off to college or whatever. A lot of them go off to college.
Yeah.
They're in areas that they don't know anything about the police department there. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
anything. And they fall prey to the cops that basically a lot of them, I hate to say it, there's a lot of jealous actors out there.
Yep.
A lot of guys on the police department, not because they love the job, but because they couldn't do anything else or because they couldn't get into college
Ah,
or whatever.
got it.
Jealousy is real.
Well, thank you again. Would you mind one more time the website?
www.projectsafehands.com or 1-888-885-6712.
Oh, thank you so much, Jimmy. Pleasure to see you, meet you. Thank you again. I hope our listeners do reach out. Thank you so much. To
Yeah.
all of our listeners, stay tuned. More of the shows on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.